Hello everyone. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about a really interesting indie game in development called Project Intellisphere. This isn't your typical flight simulator. It's a blend of high-flying action with an engaging, almost gritty, cyberpunk backdrop. Think flight simulation meets arcade-style air combat, and you're getting close. The game is set in the year 2052, in a world dominated by powerful corporations. We have Nanotrasen, a long-standing giant in science and space travel, but they're facing a serious challenge from the Syndicate. This is a coalition of smaller, more innovative companies led by Cybersun. Tensions are escalating, and the world is on the brink of its first corporate war. If any of this sounds familiar, it's because the game draws inspiration from classics like Ace Combat 3, Electrosphere, aiming to deliver thrilling aerial battles with a compelling narrative. So, in this presentation, we're going to dive into what makes Project Intellisphere tick, from its controls and gameplay to how it compares to other games in the genre, and even some tips to get you started. First things first, let's talk about getting your hands on the controls. Mastering these is crucial for dominating the skies. The current setup is pretty straightforward. For pitch, which is tilting your plane's nose up or down, you'll use the W and S keys. A and D, handle roll, which is tilting your wings left or right. And for yaw, turning your nose left or right, you've got Q and E. To quickly switch between targets, you can use the Tab key. Firing your weapons is as simple as hitting the space bar. And for adjusting your speed, you can use Shift and Control, or the up and down arrow keys. Now, for those of you who prefer a more traditional setup, the game fully supports gamepads, which can offer a really smooth alternative. Just a quick heads up, if you're playing the web version, be careful with Control and W together, as that might accidentally close your browser tab. Overall, the controls are designed to be intuitive, but they also offer enough precision for some really skillful maneuvers, making them great for both casual players and those who want to really master their piloting skills. Project Intellisphere aims for what's often called a simcade experience. This means it tries to find a sweet spot between realistic simulation and more accessible, arcade-style gameplay. The flight model uses smooth movements based on linear and angular accelerations, which gives your aircraft a feel that's both believable and easy to handle. You'll be spending a lot of time in fast-paced dogfights, taking down enemy planes with both guns and missiles. One of the really cool features, even in this early stage, is the ability to land, taxi, and even experience collisions. These details really add to the immersion and hint at some exciting future possibilities, like maybe stratosphere flight or even zero-gravity combat. Even though it's still in development, the demo already shows off some really responsive aircraft handling, and the enemy, AI, is surprisingly capable. They can dodge and maneuver, so you'll definitely need to stay on your toes. To really understand where Project Intellisphere fits in, let's compare it to a couple of popular flight combat games, Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown, and Project Wingman. Ace Combat 7 is a AAA title set in a fictional world with modern military themes. The gameplay is pure arcade-style flight combat with really cinematic missions. Its strengths lie in its polished visuals, a complete and engaging story, and a huge variety of aircraft to choose from. While Ace Combat 7 is visually stunning and offers a very polished experience, Project Intellisphere brings a unique flavor with its cyberpunk dystopia. The conflict is driven by corporate greed rather than traditional warfare, which is a refreshing twist. Its simcade approach also offers a bit more depth in the flight mechanics, which might appeal to players who want a touch of realism without sacrificing the fast-paced fun. While Project Intellisphere might not have the visual polish of a finished AAA game, its unique setting and indie creativity give it a real edge for players looking for something different. Now, let's look at Project Wingman. This is an indie success story, and like Project Intellisphere, it focuses on aerial warfare. The gameplay is also arcade-style combat with intense dogfights. Its strengths include being a completed and released game, and it even has VR support. Project Wingman shares those indie roots with Project Intellisphere, making it a more direct comparison. Both games deliver thrilling air combat, but Project Intellisphere distinguishes itself with its cyberpunk narrative and those simcade mechanics we talked about. Where Project Wingman sticks to a more traditional aerial warfare theme, Project Intellisphere is weaving a story of corporate intrigue that has the potential to become something truly unique. Plus, the potential for features like landing and taxiing suggests a broader scope for Project Intellisphere, even if it's not fully implemented yet. As an ongoing project, it has room to grow in ways that a completed game like Project Wingman can't. So, what really makes Project Intellisphere stand out? It's that fantastic fusion of a cyberpunk world with the excitement of air combat. This is a pretty rare combination, and it promises a level of narrative depth that you don't often find in flight games. The Syndicate mechanics are a great choice, catering to players who appreciate both accessibility and a hint of realism. And the fact that it's an indie project built with the Godot engine really signals a passion-driven effort with a lot of potential for community involvement and innovation. Compared to the polished but perhaps more conventional Ace Combat 7, or the solid but familiar Project Wingman, Project Intellisphere offers a really bold vision that could potentially redefine the genre if it's fully realized. The journey of Project Intellisphere actually started back in 2017 as a prototype in Unity. However, in 2021, the developer made the switch to the Godot engine, and this really unlocks some new possibilities. Godot's lightweight and open-source nature has allowed for more efficient development of features like improved flight dynamics and gamepad support. Currently, the game is still in its demo phase, so it's definitely a work in progress. But there are some really ambitious plans for the future. Think realistic high-altitude flight or even those zero-G battles we mentioned earlier. What's also really encouraging is that the developer actively welcomes community input, inviting passionate players to contribute through their Discord server. This kind of openness could really spark a thriving modding scene, potentially adding all sorts of new aircraft, missions, and environments to keep the game fresh and exciting. Since the game is still evolving, here are a few practical tips to help you get the most out of the current demo. First, get comfortable with the controls. Spend some time practicing those pitch, roll, and yaw maneuvers so you can feel confident in tight dogfights. Second, use the target cycling wisely. The tab key is your friend for quickly locking onto enemies and avoiding getting tunnel vision. Third, pay attention to your speed. Adjusting your speed with Shift, Control, or the arrow keys can be crucial for outmaneuvering your opponents or lining up the perfect shot. Fourth, if the keyboard controls don't feel quite right for you, definitely try out a gamepad for a smoother experience. And finally, adapt to your enemies. Watch how they dodge and adjust your aim accordingly. They're smarter than they might initially seem. So, in conclusion, Project Intellisphere is shaping up to be a real hidden gem in the making. It successfully blends the adrenaline-pumping thrill of air combat with a really intriguing cyberpunk twist. Its simcade, gameplay, responsive controls, and unique setting make it a standout title, even in its current work-in-progress state. When you compare it to the established giants like Ace Combat 7 and indie hits like Project Wingman, Project Intellisphere is really carving its own path with a fresh narrative and a ton of untapped potential. Whether you're a seasoned flight combat veteran or just a fan of dystopian stories, this is definitely a game worth checking out. So, jump into the demo, take to the skies, and keep an eye on this project as it continues to soar towards something truly extraordinary. Thanks for listening.